Hello and welcome back to Rangers Ready Go. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks. I've been really busy. But the topic today, I'm going to talk about something I thought I'd never have to talk about. Not, don't get me wrong, this topic it's fine. I don't have a problem, at least I don't have too much of a problem with what they're doing now. When I say they, I mean Saban, Hasbro, Boom Comics. Now, a lot of people out there like Boom Comics. They like what they do. They like how they've taken what we know about the Power Rangers universe and given it a little bit more backstory and even continuing certain adventures of certain Power Ranger teams, mostly Mighty Morphin. Again, because we can't seem to, leave the past in the past. And people are fixated on Mighty Morphin for some reason. They're a better series of Power Rangers than Mighty Morphin. Yeah, granted, it was the one we started with, but you gotta admit, when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers first started, while the action was good, mainly just because of stock footage, the stories were dull, and the characters were just lame and cheesy. Yeah, granted, Super Sentai in and of itself is lame and cheesy, but Mighty Morphin, I don't think, in my mind, was the best series to start with here in America. I always said that I could have imagined them doing, say, Chojin Sentai Jetman before Zyu Ranger, which is Mighty Morphin, or even start with Chikyu Sentai 5-Man. Now, that's what this topic is about today. Chikyu Sentai 5-Man. Now, anybody who knows what that is, you're probably wondering, why am I talking about such an old series? Well, because apparently this old series is now having somewhat of a resurgence, thanks to Boom Comics. I never thought they would do this, but apparently they are beginning to utilize the Rangers of pre-Mighty Morphin Power Ranger series. The Super Sentai series that aired before Kyoryu Sentai Zyu Ranger, which we know is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And for some reason, they're starting with Chikyu Sentai 5-Man, which was 2 series before Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in Japan. It was released in 1990 in Japan. It was a really good series. Kind of imagine if... Don't stray too far from what I'm getting at, but the premise of Chikyu Sentai 5-Man were basically the Rangers themselves. Think of them as Planeteers. I know, cheesy, Captain Planet reference. But still, that's basically what they were. They all had certain abilities that would benefit the Earth. They all did stuff to help the Earth. That's what they cared about. Chikyu being the Japanese word for Earth. So they were their Earth Squadron 5-Man. Pretty self-explanatory. There was 5 of them. There was no 6th Ranger in the series, just main 5 Rangers. And I liked this series. I have not seen all of it, but what I have seen of it, I really like. Like I said, it's basically Power Rangers meets Captain Planet. It's an environmental storytell. Lots of morals and values in this series, telling people to be good to the Earth and treat the environment well. Don't litter. Give back to your community, all that kind of thing. But what Boom Comics is doing with Chikyu Sentai 5-Man, they are going the route that Super Megaforce went whenever we saw one of the Gokaiger or Super Megaforce Rangers use a Ranger key that at least people in America had never seen before. There were several instances where they used the powers of Ranger teams that we never got here in America. They were never adapted into series. That's fine, but the way that they say it in Super Megaforce, Gosei basically tells them that these are Ranger powers from different corners of the universe. We've never seen them on planet Earth before. And again, to me, that's just dumb, because every single Super Sentai / Power Ranger team is from planet Earth. Every single last one. Even the Alien Rangers were just Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger. In Japan, they were supposed to be a team of ninja rangers, not aliens. So yes, every single last team of Super Sentai Power Rangers are from Earth, with the exception of Uchu Sentai Kyu Ranger, where several members of their team are from different planets. That's fine. But the main character is from Earth. And several other of the Rangers of that team is from Earth. So, getting back to this, Boom Comics is now dubbing Chikyu Sentai 5-Man Power Rangers Supersonic. I have no idea why. I really don't. There was one Ranger in Chikyu Sentai 5-Man where this name kind of makes sense, and that would be the Yellow Ranger, 5 Yellow. And her powers come from melody, or song. So therefore, melody, song, supersonic. Whatever. Not going to read that much into it. But that was just her power. The rest of the Rangers have nothing to do with sound or music or anything like that to where it would warrant them being dubbed supersonic. But I digress. They are bringing this team to light in Boom Comics, but guess what? Like I said, they are not from Earth. These Rangers apparently are Rangers from a different planet. I didn't bother learning the name of the planet. But what I do know of the story is these Rangers somehow are going to die, or be killed rather, which is strange, then come back to life and have superpowers. I'm really confused on where you're going with this, but this is just what I read from the synopsis, the description that Boom Comics gave in an article online. The enemy is Dark Spectre. Anybody out there remember Dark Spectre? Yeah, Power Rangers in Space. The enemy in Power Rangers in Space was called Dark Spectre. And Dark Spectre they obviously used him as the enemy in the Power Rangers Turbo movie, or rather Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. And he was known as Malagor. But it's the same giant lava creature that literally one series later you call Dark Spectre. Malagor to Dark Spectre. Whatever. But somehow this is the same villain from Power Rangers Supersonic. And I suppose this kind of makes sense considering this is a team from the past. And even though Dark Spectre was destroyed in Power Rangers in Space, since this takes place in the past, I guess it's completely plausible that Dark Spectre is still alive and well, and wreaking havoc across the universe, I guess. Well, that's all well and fine. I can see how they can make that work. What I can't see how they are going to make work, and I almost refuse. Getting back to Power Rangers in Space, does anybody remember the Psycho Rangers? Or the Mega Rangers, as they were called in Power Rangers in Space, the Japanese version, rather, of Mega Ranger? First, I have a question. Was there a Green Ranger in Power Rangers in Space? No. No, there wasn't. Was there a Green Ranger in the Japanese version of Power Rangers in Space? Denji Sentai Mega Ranger. Was there a Green Ranger? No. No, there wasn't. But for some reason now, apparently there has to be a green Psycho Ranger. Just like they made up that there was a silver Psycho Ranger, which didn't exist in the Japanese version. And just like how we created the Titanium Ranger for Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, when in Go-Go 5, the Japanese version of Lightspeed Rescue, there were only 5 Rangers. There was no 6th Ranger. It's, from what I'm gathering, it's just the fact that ever since Mighty Morphin, the very first team of Power Rangers here in America, we started with the first 5 Rangers and then eventually got the 6th Ranger with the Green Ranger and then / the White Ranger. And then it seemed like every series after that had to have a 6th Ranger. Say for the Alien Rangers, they didn't have a 6th Ranger. But it seemed like that was a formula that Saban at the time could bank on to keep people interested. Oh, well, if you get tired of these first 5 Rangers at any point, here's a 6th Ranger for you to like as well, for a new story arc and whatever. And it works great for series that have 6th Rangers or more, or even more than 6. But in a series that has only 5 Rangers to begin with, originally in Super Sentai, their original Japanese version of the series, don't just create a 6th Ranger. Stop it. Just stop creating things that didn't exist originally. It's okay to do this with certain franchises, people, but this is Power Rangers. It was adapted from Super Sentai. And the main reason why I enjoy watching both Super Sentai and Power Rangers is I love to be able to make the comparisons between the two. Now, whenever we make up something that didn't exist in Super Sentai, but it's in Power Rangers, it just throws that balance completely off in my mind. It just pisses me off. I don't understand why this has to happen. You can change characters, personalities of the Rangers, I suppose, and add new, more interesting, I suppose, story arcs. But the things you have to keep intact from Super Sentai, as I've said before, the main villain, the morphers, and the Ranger team itself has to stay intact and identical to its Super Sentai counterpart, or else it's just not going to make sense. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Anyway, a Green Psycho Ranger. Now, in Power Rangers in Space, or Denji Sentai Mega Ranger, there was a Psycho Ranger for every color of Mega Ranger, or in Space Ranger. Space Ranger, let's just say that. There was a red Space Ranger, there was a red Psycho Ranger, there was a black Space Ranger, there was a black Psycho Ranger, and so forth. There was never a green. There's not a green Mega Ranger or Space Ranger, therefore there should not be, or never should have been, a green Psycho Ranger. Just like in Power Rangers in Space when the series aired and they created a silver Psycho Ranger, just because they had introduced this silver Mega Ranger or silver Space Ranger later on in Power Rangers in Space or Denji Sentai Mega Ranger. But even though they did that, even in Mega Ranger, there still was no silver Space Ranger or silver Psycho Ranger. There just wasn't. There was just the main 5 Psycho Rangers. That was it. And yes, they looked kind of cool. Cool looking suits, vibrant colors. They were badass, they were powerful, they were violent. Lots of blood in that series, believe it or not. Not in the American reversioning, though. But again, I don't mind what Boom Comics is doing. What they're doing is great. They're adding to the stories of characters and situations in Power Ranger teams that we enjoy. Again, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with adding. But if you're going to add, have it make sense. Have it be lore friendly. Not just create something brand new and then say, oh yeah, here's the lore to it too, so it makes sense. You can't, that doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. You can't create something and give it lore just to try to coincide with something that's already there and been established. I'm going to say it again. Unless it's done in Super Sentai, don't do it in Power Rangers. Stop it. Stop it. But anyway, my overview and thoughts of, early thoughts rather, of Power Rangers Supersonic. Positive in the aspect that I like that they're finally doing something with the pre-Mighty Morphin era Power Rangers, or Super Sentai. I'm very glad that they're doing something with it. But on the negative side, I'm very upset that they can't use more aspects from the actual series Chikyu Sentai 5-Man instead of just using the Rangers, just their look, and then giving them an entirely different backstory, origin, power derision, enemies, making up villains. Stop. There were plenty of villains in Chikyu Sentai 5-Man that you could have revisioned and made them work for your story. Not freaking Dark Spectre and a green Psycho Ranger. And that doesn't even make sense. What does the Psycho Rangers or Dark Spectre have to do with Chikyu Sentai 5-Man? Nothing, absolutely nothing. And that's my thoughts. had to get that off my chest. I really did. But speaking of Chikyu Sentai 5-Man, along with many of my other collector's reviews getting ready to go up on the channel here very soon, one of them is a review of a really, really old Super Sentai toy of Chikyu Sentai 5-Man for $5 his wrist weapon from the series. And I'm actually really, really excited to see how exactly this works. This is pre-owned, obviously. This is actually from my one from my brother's collection. He still has maybe a couple, 2 to 3 things that I don't have in my collection. That's just because they're so rare to find, and whenever he found something that he knew I didn't have, he was like, oh, I gotta get that so Paul doesn't have it. Then he just lets me raid his stash, and I just review this stuff anyway. But obviously everything else, I mean, I've got so much of my own, at this point it really doesn't matter. As long as I get my hands on it and I'm allowed to review it, it makes me happy. And in turn, hopefully, it makes you all happy too to learn about such old, rare, and interesting toys and collectibles from Super Sentai and Power Rangers series. Because as you see on the back, it looks like it's got quite the the depiction of how this thing is supposed to work. I'm thinking it's some kind of a disc launcher. But we'll get to this very, very shortly. May even be the next one that I go ahead and put up. I've already recorded most of the others. This is the only one that I have not yet to record of this season of collector's reviews. So until next time, guys, stay tuned for this and many other collector's reviews getting ready to be posted on my channel. So until next time, guys, I'm Paul. This is Rangers Ready Go. I hope you enjoyed my quick little discussion and overview of Power Rangers Supersonic, which is just Chikyu Sentai 5-Man. See you later.